Hello and welcome to the Pro Detailer Magazine podcast, along with the amazing Matt Yates of Angelwax. So hello, Matt.
Hello, Matt.
And of course, we have Ian here for a dose of sarcasm and button pressing.
Yeah, I don't have a button for that though. Still only got the trombone.
Yeah, no, it's the Ian button, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, to the man in point. Matt, first of all, massive thank you. You've driven all the way down in a very fancy pants Mercedes, as we said, all the way down from deepest Scotland via a couple of race teams and the typical sort of showbiz life that you have.
Just the one race team.
Just the one race team. But you're going to counter that, you are going up via Nottingham this afternoon, aren't you? So, it's mixed with the rough with the smooth, I guess.
Yes, indeed.
For those listeners who don't know who Matt Yates is, A, where the hell have you been? B, he is basically 50% of Angelwax, or 33.33 recurring percent of Angelwax. And you recently celebrated your 40th birthday.
Thank you for being so kind.
That's good.
But more recently.
But more recently celebrated your 50th birthday. And you've been in the game for a long, long time. I remember meeting you for the first time. And I believe it was at a wax stock.
It was at the NEC.
Was it?
Classic car.
You remember it better than I do.
One of the very, very first classic car shows at the NEC.
Well, probably not that they've been going since the 70s, and one of us wasn't alive then. So,
I think it was a very, very one of the first shows that John and I did at the NEC, and we saw this stand next to us. We were in a marquee. If you remember, we'd brought a marquee with us, and it was very dark inside. So we had that, and we noticed that next to us is somebody else doing vehicle products called Car Skin or something.
yes.
And these guys, we thought, oh God, that must be the enemy. And then we were disappointed because you were all so nice and friendly, and we got to light a house on fire. That was the first time I met you.
And we were sober as well.
I have to have your word for that.
Well, since then, you have taken with your sidekick John Angelwax to amazing heights. It's now one of the most successful brands out of the UK, and I say out of the UK because you're very international nowadays.
Yeah, we've moved on a bit, but our core guys, the ones that have always stayed with us, are
In your basement.
Yeah.
I'll put you on the spot. What countries are you in now?
As in Angelwax, not
continents.
I think there's about 42 different countries. That was the last count. So yeah, we're in Africa. We're certainly in Asia.
Africa's technically a continent. I mean, I hate to be a pedant.
Oh, is that all right?
Yeah.
It's
a big one.
We've got a new importer just come on for South Africa.
Oh.
We have gone through a couple of importers. I think the problem is with importers, they have a very, they know what they want to do, but sometimes they just can't quite get there. Yeah. So we can't wait forever for them to
for something to happen.
Something to happen. So we just have to cut loose, move on. And yeah, that's all we can do. But Europe's a big thing for us.
You've got like a hub in Holland.
We have Newark, just outside Rotterdam. We've got the guys there, Urian, Rick, and Corolla, and Ian. Sander, a great team.
Corolla, son of Toyota?
No, not quite.
Okay.
A partner of Rick.
Oh, okay.
So yes, she does a lot of the finance, and she lets the guys get on with what they need to get on with while she sorts out all the finance, because the boys aren't very good at that. Just like I'm not. That's why we have somebody to do certain jobs, and that runs really quite smoothly over there. They get a lot of the international business on. That is what they do. The idea was they imported into Holland and then distribute from there. But it's far easier if they run around the place, bringing the business on board, and we ship directly from where we are. Yeah. Because it's shipping now is a nightmare.
It is. And combined with COVID's upping prices and Brexit's adding paperwork, it's
shipping containers. Everybody's putting prices on at the docks because it's a first come, first serve. The more money you have, you'll be first served. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
it's a tough old time in many respects. For
I heard from prices at the docks and first come, first served. So I think I missed out on some of this price.
It just reminds me of a Blackadder episode at some point. But
you're talking about the Dutch. Is it true that the Dutch have business clogs? Because this is some, I don't know. You keep on telling me about it. It was when you guys went to the car wash show when I buggered off early.
No, they do.
Frankfurt Airport.
I've seen
everybody
them.
Walks around in polished black Dutch business clogs.
Yeah.
No.
Well, they're just doing it for your benefit.
Just following me around.
You're just in the
Yeah,
tourism
I've
office.
not noticed that.
No, they generally do. My best friend is Dutch, and his dad wanders around in clogs half the time. It's bizarre.
Really?
And the clippity-clop. It's like being followed by a pony.
I've yet to witness that. That's
Okay, I'll take you over there at some point and give you a clog fest.
the
period.
guys I hang about with walk around in like superstars. So
Oh, well,
on the feet, Adidas
are they
superstars.
adults or?
That's it. Usually, it's
Not everybody wears Gore-Tex.
There was a friend, in fact,
bed.
our photographer Matt, who was asking for what best trainers for advice, and I was going to say B1 rated mountain shoes. Trainers are for children and hipsters. But anyway, I get in trouble for saying that sort of thing, so we'll move very quickly on. You have come down via Cheshire, and you have some big news to do with the British Touring Car Championship, BTCC.
Oh, yes, indeed, we do.
Are you allowed to tell us?
I can do. It is official.
Mm-hmm.
I've not put it out online yet, but I will do a post. We now sponsor a driver out of Scotland called Rory Butcher. Yes, and he drives for the Toyota Gazoo racing team, a Speedworks team based in Cheshire. But now what we've actually gone and done, we've gone a step further, and we've replaced another car detailing brand, and we are now going to be on all the racewear on all three cars, not two. There's going to be a third Toyota Corolla, and it's an exciting year because this is the year of the hybrid. So everybody's got battery packs to put in. The engines, the BTCC engines, now 20 kilos lighter, so they gain an advantage there. However, you've now got a very heavy battery that's in the passenger footwell of
Where have they found 20 kilos from?
Well, they're titchy-woo little engines, aren't they?
That's a hell of a lump.
It's actually 25. It's actually 25 kilos.
That's a sack of potatoes.
But bear in mind,
That's 25 kilos. That's a 25 kilo sack of feathers, that is.
Yeah, Ian, keep it topical. That's a 25-litre keg of detailing product. But because they are, I'm just trying to remember now, but they're 1.6 four bangers, and they've gone down to smaller ones now.
No, is that not Formula One?
That might be
Yeah, that was Formula One.
No,
my bad.
I think these are 2 litres.
Okay, but
I think I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah.
I've never really asked.
okay. Well,
All I know is it's they got the Talker engine, which is the BTCC one, and I think you have a choice, but I'm not sure what's happening now because
Isn't that the one they build over at Swindon Engines?
yeah, Swindon, yeah.
I've been around that facility.
Yeah,
there.
they don't have the contract anymore.
Not anymore, no. But I remember going in there, just had all these engines stacked up in the corner and a massive CNC mill just making new drive shafts for the V10 out of the Dino. It's the other thing they specialise in because it's in all of the Alfa Romeos.
possibly.
Maybe.
Well, more importantly, Subaru are still in the BTCC, aren't they? Or have they left now?
No, they've left a while.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not interested anymore. But no, and it's really big news to be with the GR Racing team, and it means you are going to, like a bit of a VIP celeb, be travelling around with the BTCC circus. I've added too many C's there, and going to all the different racetracks and offering Angelwax approved detailers and failing that potentially PVD approved detailers the opportunity to spend all expenses paid weekend race meet in the pits, eat with the team, live with the team, do everything, and in return
Sleep with the team sometime.
looking after the car, looking after the car. So it's a bit of a treat for a detailer. Really.
Yes, it is. That's what I want to do. Basically, we can have up to 2 people in the garage because it can be a bit cramped, especially with a third car now. But one thing the team can struggle with on certain occasions is getting the car, looking its best, especially if there's to repair a bit of damage on it. You got to wipe them down in between races. Sometimes they'll just kick you out and you won't be needed. But before, like on the Saturday between practice and qualifying, before they go out to qualify, that's when you need something slick on the car because the top 20 are separated by less than half a second. So we are talking marginal gains here.
Yeah.
And it could, one coat of something on the car could mean the difference between starting 12th on the grid or starting 6th on the grid. You never know.
Can you think of anything that people could apply? I mean, is there a product out there?
There's one or two. I did find that applying a coat of ceramic coat the Friday before the race turned out to be a waste of time. because what can happen is, the car can get destroyed at some point. So you're better off with, we did the atomic QED that we do, the graphene quick detail.
I know the one. We've got a bottle in the cupboard here.
Oh, have you got some?
Yeah,
Very nice. Very nice. So a quick wipe down with that. and that makes it as slick as hell. You're really that, and the ceramic is going to be better long term. Sometimes these panels aren't long term.
But surely with the ceramic, it means you can hit the wall 120 miles an hour, there won't be any damage.
Yeah, that's right.
9H hardness or something.
That's right. Oh yeah, 10H.
10H, my bad.
10H. Yeah, that's
Do you do windscreen coating on them as well?
it's a perspex screen,
Yeah,
and what they've got is they've got a tear off on that, but we can use the H2 go on that. Yeah, it is safe. Yeah, it is safe because people put it on motorbike crash helmets and things, the visors, don't they? So it's all right for polycarbonates and things like that. And I never really knew whether it was safe on a tear off. So
just practice.
What better way than to give it a try? You've got these disposable cars out.
Well, you've got 3 drivers, you said, so you could, it'd be cheaper if you
if
lost
they're going to
one.
crash anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it's all good because if the guys disappear, they go for the tea or something, then they leave you with the car to coat it. But I decided that trying to ceramic coat a car in an hour was
a bit of a stretch.
It was a bit of a stretch. So I've said to the guys, listen, what we're going to do this season, we're just going to keep spraying it, cleaning it, wiping it down with the products that we supply you with.
And what about the car?
Yes. And no brake cleaner.
Oh, okay.
And the team owner says, they probably still use brake cleaner. I says, I better not catch them. Because they just take away anything. It's all right. I mean, when they're out there fighting for position during a race, a coating's not going to make a damn bit of difference. But just for the qualifying,
that's where you feel the most value is added.
That's where you need to.
Well, also when it comes back from a race and you've got the podium and you've got all the people, waving and smiling and champagne and stuff like that. I mean, you want your car and all the sponsors who've paid an awful lot of money for that to be looking good. So,
yes. You're quite right. You're quite right. But I mean, this is about marginal gains. Can it or will it? And it would be nice to get one of these cars into a wind tunnel at some point and then coat it with some quick detailer and see if it makes a difference. Yeah,
there was talk because various manufacturers have been involved with race teams before, and a couple with Formula One, and obviously Formula One have got the budget to.
Renault F1's got a wind tunnel up in
and
Northland.
From what I heard, I can't remember who I was talking to, probably a mutual acquaintance. And he was saying that they were going to do some wind tunnel testing to see if it actually affects the coefficient of drag. So either that didn't happen, or it didn't affect the coefficient of drag, so everybody just kind of kept quiet about it.
Did, so they shut up about it.
Yes. Or because also the F1 teams, if they've realised they can reduce drag, the last thing they want to do is tell their competition how they've done it. So, it could be any option there. But pulling it back from international motorsport and travelling the country as a VIP, what's your background? Because in those 40 plus 10 years that you've done quite a lot of different things.
Yeah, I have. From a very early age, all I did was wash cars when I was about, when I was in the Scouts, my bobber job thing was to go and wash a car. I didn't want to clean anything. I didn't want.
Were there many cars around in those days?
there were a few. I think they're all
Model Ts,
Vauxhall Vivas and things. No, I cleaned the odd Mark V Cortina. My dad had cars, and he was out on the road quite a bit. So when he came back on a Friday night, on Saturday, I'd look at his car and like a white Cavalier or something like that, and I'd give it a right good cleaning and just try my best to get all the crap off it from the week. And I used to do that. And when I moved to Scotland, when I was
you're Lancastrian, as we can tell by the accent.
Ever so slightly, yeah. So moved to Scotland when I was about 15, and me and a friend set up a little business. We'd have buckets on our handlebars, and we'd go to the local auto shop and buy our bits and pieces, and we'd go around.
Did you have tassels on them as well?
No, we didn't.
I can just see that.
Basket on the front.
Yeah. Baskets on
Bit
the
of a
sides.
parade.
Those little spoke things you used to get in Frosties.
Yes, I
rattling
used
along.
to have those.
Jesus, guys.
With the reflectors on.
Your childhoods must have been so
Different.
full of
Well,
excitement.
you grew up in Essex.
Oh, right.
I didn't.
I thought you did.
I didn't grow up.
Oh, I see. Yeah. No, fair thought. Yeah.
Stupid face.
So that's what we used to do. Earn a few quid just washing cars. We'd put a few flyers out that we'd have to type up, because back all that time ago, computer printers weren't a thing. So we'd have to write these damn things out. I type them up on a typewriter and just put things out. There was
very Lutheran. Yeah.
It was indeed. Well, we had
Carve it out of wood.
Stamp it to a church door.
Scroll through. Yeah.
93 services.
Well, we got a few phone calls. That was it. We got a few. We got like 3. So, but these were our regulars, and it's £5 between 2 of us to wash a filthy. I think what was it now? I think it was a Cavalier, and the guy just it was. No, Sierra Cavalier, one of those.
One of those. But £5 in those days, you could buy a house with that.
But what we used to do, we used to get our money, then go to the local auto shop, and we used to buy car detailing products.
£25 worth of product.
Well, this is it. We never really made any money. We didn't really have business. We just knew we needed to buy supplies.
Yeah.
And the pricing for all this stuff was in the sky. Because every time we went in, nothing had a price on. And the crook that ran the shop just used to look straight up. And then give us a price.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, the same brand of polish back in the late 80s is the same bloody price as that same bottle is now.
Blimey.
It's about $7.99 for a bottle of this
So they
stuff.
took you for a complete ride, so to speak.
So to speak. Didn't know where you were going.
Okay,
with
so that was your 20s.
Yes.
And
Yeah, then growing up in a seaside town, worked in restaurants, hotels, things like that, and then my first proper job was working in a laboratory for an adhesives company in Glasgow.
and is this where you met Mr. Hogg?
My travel partner, yeah, that's what he calls himself, my travel partner.
You've told me
You met John in a glue factory. That explains so much.
Yeah,
That's answered half the questions I've got. To be
Yeah, exactly. We've scrapped all of that. Now,
Cross that off.
you've told me many, many stories about you and John in the past, most of which we couldn't possibly broadcast, but there was one in particular that involved inflammability, which I think is probably worth repeating for the benefit of our listeners.
yeah, he combusts quite well. Yeah, I think, what was it now? We're in a mixing room in the lab, and it's a separate room, and we went in there, and he had this lab mixer that he put into the bucket. So the head of this mixer that was whizzing around and sparking and flashing, he put in, and it was a nasty concoction he'd got. Anyway,
There's so much I could be saying here, but I'm just controlling myself.
It did go bang. There was a big puff of smoke, and there's a flame shot up, and then I ran out to get the fire extinguisher, but unbeknownst to me, I'd run past it. I think he located it eventually and put the fire out, but his eyebrows have never been the same.
Oh, they're pretty fantastic at the moment. They must have. God, imagine what would happen if he didn't burn them off and he was in his 40s.
40? No, he was in his 20s then.
Oh, blimey, you knew John in his 20s.
I was 16 or 17 when I started working in the lab. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I think I just turned 17. I was working in the lab. I was the lab boy. I got sent for the
That like the cabin boy, just not in the Navy.
Similar, filling up Winchester bottles full of solvents, running backwards and forwards, doing jobs, going to get everybody's sandwiches. And
Have you seen Breaking Bad?
do you know something?
This is
Everybody keeps
this is like
saying
the
that to me.
inspiration source story. for it.
Never watched it. Never watched it. I watched the opening credits and I got bored.
So cycle forward, you're getting high on the glue and getting sandwiches for John. How did that develop into where you are now?
Well, we all kind of went our separate ways from that particular chemical company.
Was that just the force of the explosion?
Yeah, pretty much. John and I worked together for a few years there. I left the lab, went into manufacturing. I did a few years at that, and I got kind of fed up. I wanted to do selling. I wanted to get out on the road, so I left and I went to do various sales roles, working for different companies, out on the road, traveling around the country, selling things. Like honing your skills, kind of things. It's what I'd always wanted to do anyway. I wanted to get into sales. One, because it wasn't a kind of dirty, mucky, grubby job.
Well, it can be if you want it to be.
Yeah,
I was in sales. It was pretty mucky. And that was IT sales as well.
was it?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Dusty server rooms. I made friends with spiders for a long time.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah.
So yeah, just going different sales roles really. Different, just wandering about the UK doing all
It
sorts.
certainly helped. I've seen you at full chat in a detailing sales environment. I add in, and you've got an amazing skill there. I've seen people who were just like security guards at the NEC buying products from you, which I always try to sell them because they have to stand there. They can't run away, and I never succeeded. But I've seen them in the past at the NEC buying detailing products from your stand.
Yeah, I sell to anybody that wants to, like, if they need to be interested, but people come up to you, they've got their the hands behind the backs, they have a look, and they're just like on the outside of the group that are people that are maybe around your stand. And it's just a case of bringing them in, involving them, and not talking about the products for the first few minutes. Talking about the NEC, for example, I always...
That's a nice uniform you've got there, sir. Is that a taser or a truncheon?
Tell me about your MG.
Oh, God. Trunnions, help me.
Yeah, it's well, no matter who it is, whether it's a security guard, anybody, just have a good chat with them first, break the ice, build a rapport, find out what they drive, what do they currently use.
Ask her out on a date.
I really don't know where to go with this interview.
No. Well, that's absolutely fine. So you're in the sales, and you also are a fixer for big mobile phone companies as well, which is an interesting sideline.
That started before Angelwax. One of my sales roles was early 2000s, selling business to business comms, just mobile communications for a firm that was based in Lancashire, and I was working for them in Scotland. So after they made a load of redundancies, I decided to set up on my own. It was easy enough. Just do what you do, only do it for yourself.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I was only doing that for a couple of years, and then John and I we started messing about with the chemicals, because he'd actually
making some money.
Yeah. He'd actually come back from hit the company when everybody left the adhesives company. That kind of that went to the wall kind of thing. It just
got sticky.
You could say that, yeah. John left and he went with his chunk of business off to do his thing. My dad, who was a director of the company at the time, I think he was works director. He was a victim in all this as well as this particular company going down, because the MD basically ran it into the ground. So everybody left, but John had left before that. And then my dad decided he was going to set up his own inks business. And it was then we heard John's company, that the guys that were running the firm John was working for, was in difficulties, and that was going down the tubes. So my dad stepped in and bought all the equipment, the raw materials, and basically brought John in. And then that's where they started working together again.
Loosened the straitjacket and gradually rehabilitated him.
Well, they do get on like a house on fire.
They are. We went out for dinner when I was up last.
You did, that's right. We all did.
It was entertaining, to say the least.
Yeah, it's they have a good bit of banter. They've certainly got more in common with each other than they have with me. One of them's my dad. They're on the same wavelength. They talk technical.
They've got their own secret language. I mean, some of the words, particularly John, I can't understand a word.
Yeah.
I have to go by body language most of the time with John.
Yeah, it's just he'll smell something, raise his eyebrows and go, okay, throw me a bone. What?
That's like a Staffordshire Bull Terrier.
Yes, I can vouch for that firsthand.
Yeah,
indeed.
And that's how John came. That's how John came to be at the inks company. So,
which is called On Ink.
On Ink, that's right. That's where Angelwax all started.
Is that supposed to be John on Ink, or is there
no?
There's no play on words there.
Well, I think my dad, when he wanted the name, I think he wanted Ink On, and that had been taken
by a tattoo parlor, I imagine.
Probably.
Yeah.
So anyway, they flipped it and it went to On Ink, and he was happy with that, and that's been in business now well over 20 years. And it was over 21 years down in the facility at Renfrew that you visited before we moved.
I've still got the black with frostbite on my toes.
And the curbing on your alloys.
Yes.
Jeez, and the buckle in the rear wheel or something.
No, that was something else. But yes, no, absolutely.
Yeah. It was horrendous.
Challenge to get there.
It was. It always was. And we kind of knew, but things would appear overnight, and then the rain would come and it'd fill up, and you think you're going through just a random puddle, and you weren't. You were going down a crevice.
A bit like the Vicar of Dibley, where she jumps in the puddle and just disappears.
Yeah, we've had a few of them. We've gone over.
What, vicars?
We've lost a few vicars down there.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
The amount of turned ankles we've had in that street. You think you're walking along the street, and next thing your ankle's gone over, and you've gone over with it. We've done that a few times.
Well, if you're going to wear stilettos,
yeah, at your age. But now you've got the new premises.
Yep.
And if you read, which I hope you have, issue 13, you will have read Matt's lovely article about the gargantuan sort of effort that it was to set it all up. And then in the most recent issue, issue 14, we have like a second part to the story, because I actually went up there and caused trouble for a day or so.
You did. It was great fun.
Go and upset Misty again, which is always fun. And it's an amazing place. I mean, you were saying as a footprint, it's about the same as all your other units put together, but in one conveniently square box.
Yes. And in the article, I do mention there are less corners to hide things, which is...
Well, you say that, but it's already been divided up. Where John's little lair is, he's already made himself little rooms and subdivisions.
Yeah.
And there's literally a box room in the corner of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the main thing I was struck me when I went to your old place was that John was literally in a cupboard. So I thought, here, he's got more space. He's going to be in a nice palatial lab and all the rest of it. He's found another cupboard to put himself into.
He has. He's got his own little office, which is a lot smaller than the one he did have. However, he walks outside and he's got his lab space. Yes. So he can do everything he wants to do there. And he's right in the solvent-based department, which is where he needs to be. Because
he likes that with the solvents.
He does, because there's lots of solvents kicking about.
Keeps him happy.
And he's got his ceramics as well.
Yes.
So he's always developing new ceramics, and I keep telling him to stop.
Because you've got to do the labels.
I've got to do the labels, write the spiel, get it online. We don't want 19 different ceramics, but
somehow get it off the SDS sheet. Yes, it does have plutonium in, but it's good plutonium.
So we've got that, and then when you walk into the manufacturing departments, in the next bit we've got the big mixers.
Yo, you do like you've named them, haven't you?
Bert and Ernie, yeah.
Bert and Ernie, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm touched. I've just it's great. Thank you.
From Sesame Street.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, yeah, screw you then.
I thought we should go for Muppets in general.
We've got the wax manufacturing, which is very close to where the other mixers are. So all the water-based stuff goes on in there. We do the waxes in there too, and then it's really warehousing, bottling, labeling. We run off the compounds in there too, so everything gets made at one end and starts. The flow starts all the way through the factory, so it's very easy to make goods come in one end, go manufactured, out the other door.
It's like dogs. So the other thing is you've already outgrown it. You've already got 3 massive grade truck trailers that are kind of going in and out with movement of stock. So that provides you another 44 foot by 12 foot square massive spaces.
Yeah, we've got that. We store all the packaging out there. Because it won't rot out there. It won't shrink. We do put cardboard out there as well. The cardboard boxes. We'll probably end up bringing those back in
because they're a bit moist, I imagine, at this time of year.
They can be, but
this time of year, this is Scotland we're talking about.
Well, it's the curtain side trailers, and we thought the curtain sides would be great because when stuff comes in, we just pull the curtains back and chuck everything in. Oh no, that's not that easy, especially on these trailers.
We're just scared about pulling back your curtains on a drawstring. What's this? Oh, wrong delivery. Sorry, your DPD. Thought it was something else.
Yeah, so we're going to get some.
Stop blushing, Matt. It doesn't suit you.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
true
nice.
story.
True story. Yeah, so we're going to get some more pallet racking beams to give us a bit more height within the warehouse so we can put more cardboard up there. And the heating this week is going in. So we've got...
I love this. We moved in for a year, but now we're going to get some heating.
Well, we're going to get some heating because, I found it all right because I was in there from February onwards. Yeah, it was a bit chilly.
But you're hard as nails.
Correct. There was no heating in there whatsoever. So I just kind of lived in there. There was no central heating because the boiler that came with the place was just completely dead. So there was no hot water.
I could tell you lived there because when we went down to look at the boiler, we found some different magazines down there, didn't we?
That wasn't the boiler room. That was was where the shop's going to be. But there was a water. Yeah, that's right. There was a water tank.
Yes.
And in where the water tank was, the joiner and I ripped it to pieces. We had gloves on. We had masks. It was awful.
sounds quite violent.
Some of the poor joiner.
Yeah.
Was it consensual?
Yes. Oh, it was actually. It was. He enjoyed it, and I says, "Oh my God, it wouldn't surprise me at the bottom of this mess under all the crap down there. We found some gentlemen's magazines." And
surprise, you did.
I called it. But
yeah,
you could never see what was down there because it was all covered. It was a shell for a water tank. So by the time we'd ripped the entire bit out,
So hang on, you've been living there on your Todd for a while, and then you predicted that there would be some dirty magazines under there, and then hey presto.
Property of M.
M. Yates. No, that's too obvious, Matt. Why? That's the way to do it. Oh dear. It was an absolute giggle going up there.
Yeah, it was. I don't know where the magazines have gone now. I think they've probably ended up with Clive or somebody. Somebody's taken them home. I don't know.
I now know what your tell is, so that's great. We should play poker at some point. Anyhow, before we go any further, I think we shall wrap our first section up here, and we shall be back, and I want to be talking about exciting things like Polestar and, of course, the 10 quickfire questions, which are never all that quickfire.
Okay.
So we'll be back very soon. I hope you've been enjoying this Pro Detailer Magazine podcast. I just wanted to let you know of 3 very special offers we have running at the moment in honour of the return of Waxstock after 2 years. It is Sunday the 5th of June in Coventry as per. The first deal is a ticket and a show guide sent out a week before the show. Postage is free and it costs 20 quid. The second offer is a ticket and a t-shirt which is sent out a couple of days after ordering. Postage to the UK is free and it's 25 quid. Final offer is the mega pack with issues 5 to 14, a couple of Waxstock guides from past years, a Pro Detailer Magazine sticker and a Waxstock ticket, £50. UK delivery is free. All available at prodetailermagazine.com. Anyway, back to the podcast. And we're back with Matt Yates of Angelwax fame. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm absolutely splendid.
You're surviving, yeah.
I'm enjoying the scenery down here, the countryside. It's lovely.
Yeah, and it's 4:15 and it's not dark. That must be a bit of a culture shock.
Well, it's getting better, isn't it? It's can't wait for the light nights.
Yeah, you and me both. Actually, to be fair, I looked out the window at 7 o'clock this morning and it wasn't entirely dark, which is nice. And it's only January. I'm sort of suspicious now, in a way. But anyway, I wanted to talk about a brand of electric car that originally teamed up with Volvo, or was part of Volvo. Well, then it became part of Volvo. Then Volvo got bought out by Geely. And now they are a completely independent electric brand with cars that look suspiciously like modified Volvos. We are, of course, talking about Polestar.
Yes.
And tell us the big news.
Oh, the big news is, we have a global agreement with them. Mm-hmm. We are now their official product of choice, detailing product of choice.
All over the world.
All over the world. That's going to be good, isn't it? The guys in Sweden, we've got a guy up in Gothenburg, and he's been supplying Volvo for quite some time. Mm-hmm. He goes down, sees them, delivers the stuff. And
some Angelwax, I imagine, as well.
Indeed. And he's also been involved with Polestar as well. And our guys from the European office, I think they all had a chat between them, and then we started talks with Polestar directly. And then they tried different things, and I think they liked what they were using at Volvo, so they took it on board at Polestar. And it's more of an offering for the customer. So when the customer leaves Polestar with a nice new car, there are different bags, gift bags with different products in to maintain the vehicle. So that is what we're doing there. I don't know what the full ins and outs are at this moment in time. That is a meeting for next week. So days it today? It's Tuesday. A week today, we're having a meeting with somebody from Polestar, and we'll iron out a few bits and pieces of who's getting what from where and where they want it and things like that. So a few things to iron out, but it's all done. It's all done and dusted.
Pretty cool for what started off as a little company in Renfrew to now be supplying, one of the biggest growing up and coming electric car brands in the world. That's kind of, do you ever sit back and think, wow, we've done good?
It's very cool, and I can't take any credit for it whatsoever. Urian over in Holland spoke to the main guy that he needed to speak to, and Dan in Sweden, who's Angelwax Sweden, pretty much, he does all the he imports for that area, and it's all working together that helps all this, that pushes it all forward. So me running around the planet couldn't do all the damage that these guys have done, that we've done as a collective team. Yeah. So we've got out as
kind of like the Avengers, I guess, rather run the one-man team.
Something like that.
The Angelwax Avengers.
I was actually thinking of Patrick McNee.
Yeah,
And Joanna Lumley as Purdy and Avengers. I didn't think of the Marvel guys.
Yeah. No, I was just trying to be down with the kids, so to speak, with all the Avengers. I've been forced to watch.
I've heard
recently.
about that.
Behave.
No, the Avengers.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. So that's very, very cool. And I also wanted to touch on your mega test performance. Well, actually, specifically the performance of the Angelwax products in the mega test.
Yes.
And they almost always, and Ian, do come in on this, is that they almost always surprise us in some respect, don't they?
In the nicest possible way, yes.
Yeah.
It's not a surprise that they do well. It's a surprise at how they target very specific areas to do well in. So whereas most manufacturers will do a product up to perform adequately in every area to try and satisfy all markets, what personally I've noticed doing these mega tests, and every time an Angelwax product comes into it, is they're almost targeted at doing one or two specific areas very, very well. So they will target a certain demographic or something that either yourself or John has obviously had in mind when designing it. So, for example, the most recent one, not the most recent because that was the timing test, but before that was the glass cleaners, and it's actually won the section, I think, on the bug removal.
Yeah. We
essence of it.
To give you a bit of background, we bought, this was the most horrible thing we've had to do in the name of mega testing. We bought a lot of insects, dead insects, but fresh and juicy, which you're supposed to be feeding to reptiles and stuff, and mashed it all up by hand.
Nice.
And created a solution, a crunchy solution, and then put it over the glass and then cooked it. Gas mark 4 for 25 minutes, and then saw how
Pinch of salt?
No, we want to. They was pretty salty already, to be honest. And of all the glass cleaners, yours absolutely ate through it. And I believe it had a smidgen of NaOH in it.
But more than a smidgen. Have you smelled it?
Yes, we did. We had our
That's just how Scottish people say no.
at our VOC meter made it very excitable, but a bit of ammonia in there, and as a consequence, when it came to bug removal, yours was head and shoulders above the rest, and it was the biggest distinction in that whole test. You know, everything was increments, and the eventual winners of it were garage therapy and autoglands, and that was because overall in all the categories they were, generally speaking, they got the kind of highest cumulative mark.
Smell nicer than ours.
Yes, for different reasons.
It depends if you like that smell.
Yeah.
If you like ammonia, it's great.
Yeah, exactly. And in fairness, the garage therapy one is pretty neutral, but I like the autogland smell because it was high alcohol, and by God, it smelled good. It just constantly reminded me.
Took the edge off the day.
Yeah, is it 3 p.m. already? Yeah, not far off. But so there was that one. In the heavy cut compound test, you kindly sent us a medium cut compound because your man on the ground, Clive Ford, I think, had done a little bit of pre-test testing, and
we did say in advance what car we were going to be testing it on as well.
True. And we tested it on a couple because we tested it on Renault 5, but we tried it on your Audi.
No, not the heavy cut. That was on my A5. It was the glazes we tested on the Renault.
So it was. Yeah, okay. So UHS paint. And we had test panels too, which had soft jack paint and German paint and stuff like that, but we started with the UHS paint, and we had about 8 or 10 of these heavy cut compounds, quite a few, and yours just blew everything else out the water, and it was stunning. Now
it was James and I testing, and I remember us getting very irritated at this medium cut compound that was blowing everything else out of the water. Thanks for that.
Yeah, you and James were both getting frustrated, and it was quite funny. And then, so the initial findings of the test was, bloody hell, this stuff is head and shoulders. Now, we tried it on different paint types, and then it kind of went back into the midfield, but it was on that UHS. And again, if you look at the scores, the score by which it was better than everything else on UHS was a bigger distinction than it was on all the others. So you create these products that are perfectly adequate at 90% of things, but absolutely bloody amazing at one particular little asset. And we found that with the same with the tire dressings. So the most recent one we did, your Elixir Enigma, we had an old tire that it turns out I've been driving on because I had a puncture and we took it off for doing some more tire testing. And I've been driving around on this Michelin, which turns out to be 1999 and well dangerous, and a completely different size from the other tires on a Quattro. Not a good idea. Anyway, well, that's by the by. But the point is, on the old tire, it was again midfield, but on the new tire, it was really, really glossy, and we had a row point.
Just to point out, we say this word midfield a lot, and this is midfield of the product of sort of 8 or 10 products that have been voted as the best already. So it's not saying it's middle field. It's as good as everyone would expect of some of the highest voted products.
Yeah.
Just to clarify. Yeah, that sounds unkind how it was saying it.
Think about it like F1, is that there's no such thing as a bad driver in F1 because they are all absolutely category A plus whatever drivers and all the rest of it. So if you're coming 6th on an F1 race, you're still going to be a better racing driver than anybody else, you know. So yeah, Angelwax always surprises us, which is cool in that way. And we've got a couple regulars, like Soft 99 is another one that comes out the blue with a kind of a different way of doing things. And we're wondering, what is the product development phase? Do you just lock John with a car in a room and some test tubes and stuff? Or do you...
There's never a car around.
I'm about to say there aren't that many. Or do you just all get high on a Saturday night or something and start, playing with a chemistry set? What drives you?
Well, if there is a new product to come out, we'll have a chat first about what we're going to do. Sometimes, other times, John just messes about with something and something happens. He generally has an idea of what needs to happen, but it's when you've got somebody that's been immersed in the industry for that long. It's just second nature. And we've got so many raw material suppliers throughout the world that are always offering something that will do something else. And being part of the printing ink and surface coatings manufacturing for the printing industry, there is stuff that we're using that will never find its way into vehicle detailing apart from when we bring it in. And nobody will know that.
Well, it's funny you say that, and we brought this up before, but the printing inks and car care seem to go hand in hand because car chem, Luke Fletcher, his background is printing inks, and I think it's his dad's business is printing inks. And there is another one, we think there's some connection with raw polish as well and printing inks. It seems to be a thing. If you're into printing inks, you're into touching cars.
Well, this is it, because, I mean, they're not so, for example, a car wax and a printing ink aren't so dissimilar. I mean, spending time with chemists, when you do, they tell you different things and they give you snippets and bits and pieces, but your substrate's your surface. You've got your car, you've got paint, you've got lacquer, and you've got to make something stick to that. It's the same principle with a printing ink. We manufacture a cable marking ink for British Telecom, so they own a company that buys our cable marking ink. So all the colour stripes on the cables that you find in your home in your BT socket is more often than not that's our ink. I
ignore the colours, I just stick them in and see what happens.
Fair, you are colourblind.
I am colourblind too.
You cannot tell the difference between orange and green.
Really?
Yeah, I'm.
It's exciting at traffic lights.
No, fine with traffic lights. It's just whether when things are charging and it goes, the light is orange and then it goes green when it's finished. I can't tell. If you've got a big green field with lots of red poppies in, I can't tell. I'd be useless out in Afghan at spotting the poppy fields. I'd just be like, no, it's just a normal field. So I'm colourblind, big deal. But
every tube of fruit pastels is a surprise for him.
Yes, it is a bit of a mystery. But it's that weird connection with inks. But the idea that, and what I find really refreshing actually with Angelwax is you go to a lot of manufacturers and a lot of what I call brands, which is a nice way of saying you don't make your own products. You say, how do you develop your products? Say, we have lots of men in white coats and we test it on a million cars and we develop it. You make it sound like it's NASA. With Angelwax, it's very much like, we just lock John in a cupboard and see what it comes up with 2 weeks later. And
I don't think you could ever actually lock John in a cupboard. He has too many explosives in there to be locked in any one place.
He would be able to break his way out quite easily. Yeah. And what I like though is that at the end of all that, they work better than a lot of these products that supposedly have hundreds of millions of pounds thrown at them and all this,
but do
fluff. No, they don't.
Do they?
They go on a brochure site for chemists and say, right, I want this, detergent or surfactant, whatever, and mix it in with a bit of this, and I want it to smell like tulips. Actually, do tulips smell? Random question.
Oh, no, do they?
No, they don't have noses.
No, okay.
I literally unmuted myself from taking a photo for that joke, so I hope you appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Your best yet, best ever, in fact. Yeah, no, I thought that was something. And of all the Angelwax products, Matt, what are you most proud of? I know you didn't technically make them, but what kind of gives you a bit of a fizz? And I'm talking when not taken orally or anything.
Crikey. There are lots. However, the latest one that has really smashed it is the Nebula ceramic coating, the graphene ceramic. That has just taken coatings to a whole new level.
Mm-hmm.
There are no silly add-on gimmicks to sell with it. There are no pre-products, because you're putting this coating down after you've done your 2-stage, 3 stage, whatever stage of polishing you're doing, you wipe down with your panel wipe. There's no other sprays that you need to put down first. There's no putting a coating on and waiting for 2 hours before you put the next layer on, and then you keep somebody's car for half a week, or 5 days, all because you're putting a ceramic coating on. This is so simple. We've simplified it. I think hopefully we've upset a few people while we've been doing it, because it is a one-stage product, and this is us just strutting our stuff and showing what we can do.
And so you're going up against the top end coatings, most of which are two different products that you apply one after the other.
Yeah, I really don't understand that. I don't know why they have to do that. Probably because, I mean, a lot of these coatings are coming from the same place anyway. They come out from the Far East, or they come from China. I don't know where they come from, but there's a lot of people doing it. I mean, some of the components that you wouldn't use to make some of these products, you wouldn't get away with doing it in the UK, because the staff wouldn't do it, because the raw materials were, it's so
too dangerous,
toxic. Yeah, all these nasties. So certain countries will blend these, and people that have coatings companies, they buy them in, they're already pre-labeled, they're already in bottles, they don't need to do anything, they just need to whack them in a box if they're not already a box and get them out there.
Yeah, it's a box shift, literally.
Whereas we buy components in from all over the shop, get them. John spends a lot of time, and the Nebula was over 3 years in the making, because we have to send it out everywhere to make sure it's okay, and then we mess about with he was messing about with the graphene, and it took a long time. We don't just bring things out overnight. There's always a degree of time involved with these. I've seen some companies, they'll get a product and they get it on the Friday, and on the Monday they're shouting about how amazing it is and it lasts for years. And
it's just that's 3 days after the new catalogue comes from some big chemical company.
Yeah,
isn't
exactly.
It?
This is it.
But what's interesting is we talked with a graphene company, AGM, which we featured in the last magazine. Now, these guys are multi-million-pound company in the old ICI site up near Teesside, near Redcar. And they are serious scientists. I mean, they got electron microscopes and stuff like that. And Ian and I wandered around there.
And everything.
Yeah.
Not the ones with straps.
We've got an early learning centre microscope at work.
We've got one with a camera strapped to it now, which is great.
One of those Brio train sets with the magnets on the back that goes around.
We were saying, we've talked to various people, including John, about it, and they're, we know John Hogg. Yeah, no, he's, and they were so complimentary, but it's more than that. They kind of looked up to him. It's like, yeah, John he's a very clever chemist. He really knows his stuff, and there's that kind of praise from a proper, forget detailing. It's a little tiny little dot in the horizon. These guys are proper. We had to go a security check and all the rest of it to get through there. They said no cameras. I kind of go there as a photographer. It was awkward, not gonna lie.
May have taken a photo in the car on the way down to the cooling tower.
Yeah, and about 5 different types of alarm for different types of security threat. And we were saying, we know John. He absolutely knows his stuff, and that sort of praise from such sort of heavyweight, should we say, in the industry, was in the wider chemical industry. It was an eye opener. It was great, and we've got some of John's concoction. We've got a very exciting mega test, which we won't go into detail now because there ain't time. But we're working with John on that, and we are doing a little side by side coating test, sort of internal stuff, which I believe is using the Nebula coating. So that is going to be quite an interesting.
Super. You'll have fun with that.
Interesting thing. Yeah. No, it's 2 drops in each eye and then 1 up the nose, I'm told. You're sitting there.
Film it.
Yeah. What's our liability insurance like? Yeah, it doesn't cover gross misconduct or idiots. Okay, so your favourite product is the Nebula, and it's not just coincidence that that's the most recent one out.
No, I think it's the most technologically advanced one that we've ever done, and I like it. There are lots of products that I like. The ones that I use all the time. H2 Go, that's always going to be one of my favourite.
Well, I've always got clarity in my bottle. In my
your screen wash.
In my squirter bottle.
And I've sent it down for you before because you've gone online and you've actually ordered it, you naughty boy.
I have.
And you should just let me know and I'll maybe send you a sniff of it.
I probably should have let you know because I'm out of it. Ian keeps on stealing my screen wash. I'm a big believer in buying products rather than calling in favours because I think it's always awkward. I have the same conversation with Dom over at Dodo, is that, if we get sent everything free, it's kind of corrupt.
That's very true.
A tricky one if it's for personal use as opposed to for work stuff. If we're testing it, I'll give you a call and you send us stuff. But it's the old balance. The future of Angelwax, as we say, what do you reckon? Where do you see in it sound like a job interview here, doesn't it? But in, say, 3 years' time, what would you like to see, apart from obviously more money, a second Porsche, second Jaguar and stuff on the driveway? What in the bigger scope of Angelwax would you like to see?
I'd like to see an end to all this.
You've got a second Porsche, I've just realised, haven't you? You've got 911 and a 944.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to pull you up on that one.
No, sorry.
Because at the minute, both of them are in bits.
So the second Jaguar was probably because the first one's being repaired.
I've only got one. We have two, but I only have one. John's got one.
Yeah.
But electric, it's all right. Bit soulless, but...
Well, you took me out in it when we were up there on the dual carriageway and scared the bejesus out of me, and I just tried to get my voice at sort of a simple octave, but ended up going very squeaky.
It's quick.
Yeah, just wish you had both hands on the wheel.
One on the knee.
But yeah, 3 years' time, what's without giving away any massive trade secrets.
Well, first of all, I'd like all the shipping prices to come back to where they were. That would help everybody out in the industry.
I admire your ambition.
Yeah, I know it would be good. Prices that tend to go up don't seem to come back down again.
Never.
It would be nice if we get a bit of normality back over the next few years. But America is somewhere where we are.
Mm-hmm.
We have got a shipping container pretty much ready to go over there to go to our new warehouse facility. I'd like to see in the next few years, I'd like to see us doing very well in America.
Conquering
and the products.
America.
Yeah, we've been over there for quite a while now, but we've had so many people in America come to us and say, yeah, we can do this, we can do that, no problem. And then when it comes to the crunch, when it comes to ordering the container or getting the products over there, they run.
A lot of noise.
All gong and no dinner.
Initially, you're not doing direct to consumer out there.
No, we do to various distribution hubs. And our new place, which is in Sunrise, I remembered it, Fort Lauderdale. One of our guys out there, Rohan Cole, he's a detailer, and he's got quite a large facility.
I wonder where you're going there.
As soon as I said that, I saw your face just go. I can't say anything like that. I tell you.
I thought you were going to talk about his detailing tools. Yeah. Anyway, behave.
It's like a podcast for 12-year-olds, isn't it?
It is.
It's got a big blower, he has.
I was about to say, if we're 12, we'll be able to use the deck better. But the mixing deck.
The deck, sorry.
The rodcaster. But what's interesting is we had Ram of Colour Lock over, and he was saying how he was originally thinking of doing something like that in America, but the costs of everything, staff and all the rest of it, made it prohibitive. So he was sort of basically shipping direct from UK, direct to customer. But you've taken the other tack. You've gone balls deep, so to speak, and got yourself a nice big sort of distribution center, and then that'll be going out to all the little resellers all around. Because I imagine, what's it like shipping cross state there? If you're in Florida, say, and you want to ship it up to, think of another state, Idaho. Where did that come from? Is that easy?
Yeah, you just send everything out US Postal Service, or if you've got a courier, just whack it out. It'll go to the next hub, and they'll just keep bouncing it on until it gets there. Usually, deliveries throughout the states are there within 48 hours, so it's never usually a problem. They seem to manage. But the place that we've got, it's a detailing centre. It's got a lot of height in it, so the guy that runs it is going to give us one side of it and get some pallet racking in there and put our pallets in. And when the orders come in, he'll just He'll just arrange everything. He'll have somebody there to sort the orders and get them out. That's just initially. That's just to start with, and then we'll see where it goes.
That's pretty cool. Is it just a coincidence that I'm guessing you fly to Miami or Tampa or somewhere to get to Fort Lauderdale? That's
You can fly into Fort Lauderdale.
direct.
Not from Schiphol. All my flights go from Amsterdam.
Gotcha.
I don't bother with the London airports because they're a nightmare.
Yeah.
But no, I flew into Miami last time I went out. Miami's okay. Miami's nice.
Yeah, of course it is.
Well, I wanted New York because it was only a 5-hour flight.
Yeah, but
However,
you get there and you're in New York, and then it's a 20-hour drive back down south.
Well, no, it was I wanted somewhere near Long Island to have some kind of warehouse. There's loads of warehouse availability in like the Long Island, and we do know people there. But it was just too damn cold for everybody. So they said, we're not going to go there in winter. We'll head down to Florida instead.
Miami in winter is lovely because it's full of Americans on holiday because you don't get the tourists then. And then when spring break comes, you have a bit of fun, and then you can move away. So
Pretty much. Yeah. So it was nice to go because we did a training course there in December. So we went down, had a look at the warehouse facility. That was great. No problems there. And then we did a full day's Genesis Nebula training, some ceramic coating work on some vehicles. Put some, I think there's about another 8 detailers came on, got certified for the States. So it's all good. It's moving the right way. But it would be great if we had more products on the ground. The shipping over pallets, they get raided by US Customs. They go through them, they have a look. And if you've got one bit of paperwork
it's out of place.
That pallet's coming back to you. And the rules could have changed after the shipment left. So you've done everything right. However, when they get it, oh no, last night something changed, so that's got to go back now. So they rip it all to bits. Sometimes they've passed it and approved it, but sent it back to us anyway.
Yeah. We see these things of stuff being sold while it's on the sea. So you send off some product from the Far East and it's been sold to 10 different people by the time it gets back to the UK, and it's just going to goes up in value as it's on the boat, which is just bizarre.
Crazy.
But no, that's cool. We ought to do an American, Ian and I want to do an American tour. We've been talking to a couple of our advertisers and supporters and manufacturers and stuff to see if we can make it happen. But it'd be, imagine if we got ourselves a big Escalade or Escalade, whatever you call it, Suburban
Truck.
and truck. Yeah. Yeah, with a Stags and a long nose, a Kenworth, and just tour American sort of detailing centres because there's a lot going up. Brad Company in Ohio.
Boise.
Is that Idaho or Ohio? It's one of those.
Boise. Is he not Del Boys, mate?
No, but I was looking. I want to create a map. It's something we need to do for the Mag too, but a map of.
I think someone's already made a map of America.
No,
Yeah. To it.
Well, we did. I think we included it when we gave them their country back. But
Very nice of us.
yeah, it was good, and they just threw a tea party for us. But the point being is to find a route where we can visit lots of different people and
You should
stuff
get
like
yourself
that.
a big Winnebago and just rent something like
that's
a
camping.
motorhome,
That's
and then
camping.
just drive around everywhere.
No, that's camping. Don't do camping. No, I've done tours of America before on like personal side. And motels are absolutely fine.
Are they?
Well, not all of them. Some of them are terrifying. I had somebody murdered in the room next to me once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While you were there.
Yeah. And I was fast asleep listening. I was the first Wi-Fi I'd had in about 2 weeks. So I was listening to Radio 4 on noise-cancelling headphones. Didn't hear a thing. Woke up in the morning, blood everywhere, police tape, everything. It was bizarre. But, that was California.
Wasn't you, was it?
No. Not that they could prove, but it generally wasn't. I would tell you if it was. But no, that would be cool. And
That's just winked off camera.
So I want to move it on, and I want to move on to our 10 quick fire questions.
I'll be as quick as I can.
No, it's me who's slow.
Oh,
I draw it out. But
Reading
it's just for fun. Yeah. Some of these words have got more than one syllable and I'm screwed. What is your current car, Matthew?
work car Jaguar I-Pace.
And to make it more interesting, you have a 993 911 cap.
Nope. 996 Carrera 4.
Oh.
You were close.
Well, I wasn't that close, given you gave me a ride in it.
£25,000 out, I think you were.
Yeah.
For a 993.
I was about to say, 993 is there. And you've also got a 944.
Yeah, that's been sat in a garage. The guys were
They
very
usually have.
keen to strip it down and get the engine out to rebuild it, and everything's fantastic. So they take it to bits, go run away, get things vapor blasted and cleaned up. And then we're bored of that one.
Bored of it?
Bored. Let's move on to something else. This is the guys in the garage, not me. I want the damn thing put back together again and the engine rebuilt.
Want to relive the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I turn up at my sister's house in it. She says, "Oh God, look at Miami Vice is back." I was like, "That was a Ferrari. What are you on about?"
Yeah, no, she was talking about your suit and your pointy shoes that you've turned up to. You and last week with Chris McDonald, he had pointy furry shoes as well. What is it with grown men and clown shoes? I don't get it.
Says you in your walking boots.
I got B1 rated mountain boots. If we have like a zombie apocalypse right here, right now, I'm going to be the survivor in all that.
Why?
Because I can survive in big boots like that. It's a survival thing. These aren't actually B1 rated. These are my
All I
lightweights.
need in these is a good right foot to use the accelerator and get out of it.
Love you. Then you run out of batteries in your pace. But so I'm being rude out of jealousy and nothing else. What is the first car you ever detailed?
Can't remember.
Well, you were talking about playing with your dad's motor.
Yeah, I wouldn't say detailed because it was washed. It was probably
Okay, the one, but you do. But then
What's the first one you used Angelwax products on?
Oh, okay. Well, we've cycled forward 40 years.
Gee whiz, yeah, we did. We went forward quite a bit there.
We were in colour. That'll help you build it.
Yeah,
Should we go
no,
somewhere in the middle? Teacup.
Well,
When did you
well, I'll take-
first time you used teacup?
Well, that's
W380
the point.
TV lines
When I
or
was-
HD?
Yeah, when I was about 18, I would properly polish. No, 19 I was. I had a 316 1.8. It was the
Oh, a Beamer.
E21.
Were you selling mobile phones out the back of a Beamer 316?
No. That's way before that.
That would have been a cliche.
I was 19 and I bought it off the adhesives company. It was $2.5 grand worth of car all day long, and I bought it for $1,000.
Stuck to the road.
I'm joking.
I'm going to get a drum.
Well, I was going to say on that point, it handled awfully.
Of course it does, a BMW.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. It really was bad. It's for a 19-year-old.
But 316 for a 19-year-old is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was 1.8 engine.
Yeah.
What?
Is that the first thing you said to everybody?
Yeah.
I know it says 316 on the back, but look, M3 badge as well.
It was when BMWs were exclusive. Nobody when I was
when
19.
you had to pay more for everything to go in them, is what you're trying to say.
Well,
So what's the steering wheel?
Well, that was it. Back 1990, nobody had a BMW. There was about 3 in our town.
Well, hang on, 316 in 1990 would have been an E30.
No. In 1990 when I owned it, this was an X-Reg in 1982.
Oh, okay.
It was an E21.
Which town are we talking about here? Because that's kind of the crux of it.
Well, where I lived.
Yeah, but which town? I don't know. I don't know where you lived when you were 19. I wasn't.
All right,
I've done the full background and I'll email it you later.
a little town on the west coast of Scotland called Largs.
It's beautiful. I've been there.
Yes.
So
we walked along the seafront, didn't we?
We did. I got some lovely photos.
You did.
So there were only 3 BMWs in this town.
Yep.
How many other cars were there?
Well,
There were 12. So a quarter.
There were plenty, but people. One guy came up to me in the pub one night and said, "Are you Matt?" I says, "Yeah." She says, "Do you drive a blue BMW?" And the first thing I thought was, "Shit, who have I cut up now?
Who have I run over?
Who have I run over?" You know. And it was like he goes, "Blue BMW, yeah, it's really cool. I like it." And he wandered off, and I thought, that's weird. Nobody would do that to you now unless you had like a,
Oh, no, I think in BMW circles they do. In BMW circles means you're pulled.
not in 1990. Well, nowadays, what would you need to drive before somebody came up to you in the pub and told you your car was really cool?
That has yet to happen.
I think we need a different look, maybe less beard.
Yeah, people don't tend to approach us in the whole. It's brilliant going around the supermarket. I just push people out the way.
But that was a
touching.
hypothetical question, not aimed at you. What would you need to drive now for somebody to come up to you in the pub and say, "Geez, do you drive that?"
People
I
don't
remember
do that anymore.
when the first 90D came out, Tesla 90D. I was dropping one back off in Tetbury, just down the road from me, and waiting at a junction. And a bloke actually came and knocked on the window and said, "That's a very cool car you've got there." I was like, "Yeah, not mine, but sure, thanks."
Yeah.
So yeah, Teslas apparently in Tetbury.
Yeah.
If you're looking to pull.
Actually, Charlie gets approached when she's driving my S8 or A8. She gets approached, and she was with Fritz, the S8, and a bloke came up and said, "They're RS6 brakes, aren't they?" And of course, she didn't have a clue and just thought he was a weirdo like me, and said something like, "It's my boyfriend's," gets in and just drives off. So yeah, I think it depends on the circumstance. But if I was in a petrol station with, the beard, I don't think anybody comes near me. Sometimes they talk to me on the tannoy, because now with the petrol prices where they are, I can't do pay at pump because it's not enough. 99 quid isn't enough to fill my tank, so to speak.
Really?
You
Yeah.
can't put that in your petrol tank.
Yeah, pretty much.
Take it out till your trousers up. Don't know why I go northern for these shows.
Yeah, and actually the person I know who's actually done that to extend range on his car is Dutch. And I have photos, which is probably not something to admit to. So, first car you've detailed, we've sorted out. What is your dream car? All the money in the world. Angelwax goes multi-billion.
Ooh. I've always wanted a 356. That's the old.
We've had that before.
50s, yeah.
A speedster. Would you have an A, a B, or a C? Same question as I asked before. And do you know the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an A, one's a B, one's a C.
It's written on the back, you fool.
I do like the coupe. I do like the hard top. I'm living in Scotland. You don't want to really want a soft top up there.
To be fair, though, if you're a billionaire,
Yeah. You could
If we're
afford
going
to change the
into
weather.
billions, then it would
Yeah.
have to be something stupid like a Veyron
Oh, okay, you'll go for the full
or a
flash, yeah.
Chiron, yeah, something like that. Why not?
Yeah. I just
It's just a big 4-wheel drive Volkswagen anyway.
it's basically an Amarok underneath it all.
An anorak.
An Anorak.
Amarok. It's the pickups,
Pickup, yeah.
you know, for the people with the little. So
Steps.
What the hell's a Veyron then?
eunuchs. So we know your dream
I'll
car.
go with that.
God, way too flash. How many buckets, Matthew?
3 always.
3 always. And how do you use your buckets?
Are we talking about detailing now?
Yes, we
Oh,
are
with a
talking
wood
about
chipper.
detailing. Yes. Always
Clean
doing
water.
feet first.
Soapy water and
Yes.
wheels.
Hey. Yeah.
And a small wash basin for brushes and a leather cleaning mitt for the seats.
Yep.
But it's rare for me to go out now and wash a car.
I can tell. Yeah.
It is quite rare.
The price of
Forget the time.
success.
Yeah.
No, well, you see, I don't at the weekend it's taken up with all sorts. So to go out there and get a bit of time. However, on Saturday morning, I did get a bit of free time and I went out and I bought off a family member a 1 Series convertible. Don't judge, please.
You've turned.
I have. Yeah. It was a little 2008 and I bought it because an extra car was needed for the household and it was really cheap, so I just bought it.
Was it a diesel one?
No, it's unfortunately it's petrol.
Shame.
Yeah, that'd have been all right, but no, it was I bought it without seeing it
Because this massive boot that the 1 Series notoriously has.
Yeah, it was a family member living in the northwest of England, and I said without even seeing it, yeah, that'll do. It's family, it'll be fine.
Did you have the V5 with it?
Oh, it's got everything.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
2
okay,
keys,
just
all the service
checking.
books. Roof didn't work, so I put that into a garage before I even picked it up, and it had. It
We
maybe
know somebody
just,
with a BMW, the roof doesn't work.
yeah, and
I was going to say it's kind of inconsequential in Scotland as well.
but it just needed a couple of bits doing to it. That's what I was told. So I put it into the garage, and £900 bill later, it made the car that was really, really cheap.
Less cheap.
Less cheap. But anyway, it had been sat under trees for so long. I got it in October.
Mm-hmm.
It had its first wash on Saturday from October.
God.
And that's unheard of with me. If I get something like that, I always clean it up.
Have you got an ETA on your self-respect at some point, or are you keeping it for a long time?
No, basically after it was finished with, it's just been the person who was using it has now gone back to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
It was thousands for them to hire a car when they came over.
So you
For
can
three-
say deported, by the way.
for 3 months. Yeah, no, it's 1 in, 1 out. Djokovic came back. He's gone. So he's come back. She's gone in.
Heard the boat journey's got better.
What?
The boat journey's got better.
Yeah, I hope so.
Less scurvy.
But it was, but you know, it's not too bad apart from the misfire.
God.
The blower stopped working.
Okay.
So
no blowing.
The blower arrived today. Apparently, I got a message.
What's his name?
Yes. Child. Remember what we talked about?
Fritz.
Inside voice, outside voice.
It just couldn't retain
Fritz.
it.
Fritz is my German.
Is it?
Yeah, my big black leather-clad German is Fritz.
Are they not all called Fritz?
No, although we did walk into a German Audi dealership yelling Fritz est kaputt, and about 6 people looked up looking worried.
No, I'm not.
The general manager who died.
So I think we probably need to cuddle about this 1 Series because you're kind of a cool character and we just destroyed that.
No, it was just. I've driven it about 4 times. I drove it once from the north of England back, another time to the dealership to get all the free work done on it, which is called a recall.
Yeah.
3 recalls outstanding involving combustible cables.
Yep.
So we got all those sorted.
Wow, so you
it
can't
was-
even do
it-
the
well, it
insurance
was-
call now.
Well,
We just caught fire, so
well,
before.
it's all been sorted. So,
Yeah.
and I've driven it a couple of times just to dry the brakes after the wash, you know.
Mhm.
But apart from that, yeah, it's going to be up for sale in the spring, and it's going to be shining like a new pin. It's going for a proper machine and ceramic.
Ooh, listen up, girls. If you want something this
Double
summer,
its
Matt's
value.
got a number for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got this. It was for a girl actually. That
Yeah, I know, but you're still your name on the V5.
very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fine. I don't mind. I'll get rid.
So these quick fire questions.
Yeah.
Slow fire questions.
Ceramic or wax?
Always been wax because I can do that one myself out of doors in nice weather. What do I prefer on the car? Ceramic. However, I still like waxing.
Yeah, I know. I've heard. Yeah, I've seen the pictures. As you said, you can do it to yourself.
You can, especially with the PTFE in it.
Teflon, baby. Ceramic or wax? Sorry, I just asked that one. Ferrari or Porsche? No wrong answer.
Porsche,
Yeah. Subaru or Mitsubishi? There is a wrong answer.
Subaru,
Good man. Good man. Flex or Rupes?
Flex.
You see, this is quick fire. Yeah.
We're catching up.
Yeah. Boom.
We're only 20 minutes over.
Dream car detail. Dream car to detail. Sorry,
mean-
that came out passive aggressive towards Ian, but it really wasn't meant to be.
So me detailing a car that I would.
Yeah, if there was any car in the world that you would like kill to get your mitts on to touch and clean, what would it be? Now, people have been quite funny in their answers here, so just
Small one.
yeah, that's the kind of angle they've mostly taken.
I tend to leave it to the pros.
A cop out, but fully understandable.
Yes.
So you have, well, you've already answered this question, really. You have a Sunday morning to yourself. Do you A, wash a car, or B, go out for a drive? Bearing in mind, you live around some of the nicest driving roads in Europe, with some of the best views around, and you've got a lovely flat 6 Porsche, but instead you chose it to clean a 1 Series convertible.
That's because the Porsche is on a ramp with no engine and gearbox, because the brake pipes have been fitted.
And what about your I-Pace?
I-Pace, yeah, you can take that out, but you've got to watch where you take it, because
You'll get robbed.
No.
You have to stay close to a Jag dealership just in case.
Yeah, within pushing distance.
well, if 10 minutes from the house, you can jump on a ferry and then you're in Argyll, and then you can go over the hills, and before you know it, you're in some beautiful little towns and villages throughout the west coast. And the good thing about that, they have more charging points for the Jag out there, or for any electric
It's for
car.
all the North Coast 500, isn't it?
This is further south. The North Coast 500. I've never been that far up
Really?
ever.
I'll be able to do it. When I left your place, I was in Boris, which was kind of slightly falling apart, and I had to go and see a man about another Subaru in Manchester, so I couldn't go north. But I was looking the night before on my phone about potential routes, so I could just pop up to Aberdeen on my way back down to Swindon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a sort of a long way. But yeah, you've got some glorious roads around.
You take the MG up, you can have the Jag.
What do you mean I take the MG up?
You take your MG up.
Oh, the
when it
electric
comes.
MG. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you were trying to force me into your TF.
I'm trying to force anybody into my TF, frankly.
Hey, actually, we found somebody who likes small, unreliable convertibles.
Hey, I've got a deal for you.
Yeah. Do you like the colour blue?
Not so bad.
Yeah. No, well, that's cool. Okay, so it's been so much fun, Matt. It's been great having you down.
Thank you very much for having us.
I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the huge amount of driving you've got to do. And I appreciate this is sort of the fun before Nottingham, but all the same, it is very much appreciated. And it is now dark outside, and I am worried about you disappearing off into the darkness, but I'm told you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
Don't worry
You've got
about it.
locking wheel nuts on your car, haven't you?
Yeah, you do. I've
I
checked.
think so.
Yeah,
That's
they're
all
quite
right.
tight too. I can see got really nice 19 inches.
You hear the drilling otherwise anyway. So
You did me out of an inch there. I think they're 20s.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well,
New tyres last week.
I get confused between
You need them
large
down
and-
here on these country roads with all the mud on them.
No, you just need a Subaru with proper AT tyres on, not your fancy pants London, show off Mercedes, which is
London? It's never been to London.
I know, but it's a kind of London car. It's a Chelsea Traxxer.
Is it?
It's huge. There's a shadow. I could tell you have arrived because this whole room went dark because it shadowed it with its sort of dark glass and menace and gangsterism. Anyway,
It's not mine. I borrowed it.
Excuses. Let me guess, it's in the family though.
It's in the Angelwax family.
Cool. Right. Well, we are going to wrap it up here and now. But thank you very much, Matt. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you once again, sir.
And we will be back very soon with yet another podcast with a celebrity guest of some description.